really, that for most people feels very difficult, if not impossible. Now, for you, it might have felt easy. You might be, you know, that weird tale of the population who could do the alternating in a double way kind of thing. Describe to your partner how that felt. So this is, you know, and harking back to the learning to learn chapter from yesterday. What you observed about yourself and your responses and your reactions and how you dealt with them as you were put in a situation of challenge, and how you navigated through that challenge with this idea of learning to learn. Is that vague enough? So I'll put the timer on. You have 3 minutes to just talk through that with your partner. Your partner makes nods and smiles or whatever you need to do, and you just listen. There's no commentary, there's no nothing, you just listen, and then I'll say swap and you'll swap. We've got the stunned mullet look. That's very good. Yeah. I'm going to really stun them. Stopped imposing discipline on you. It's hard, isn't it? To have a one-way conversation, you know, and it's just one way. Who lost it at the end? Started having, yeah. Sorry? Okay, so we can talk more about, we were having a discussion at a lunch meeting on the first day about the usefulness or not of talking about ATMs afterwards. And as a general rule, I'll just put it out there, with the public, we don't, right? Because, you know, Fran said it, after the ATM, you all look like stunned mullets. When I said you have to talk about it, there was that kind of slight intake of breath. And that's something to be kind of honoured a little bit, is that you don't want to force your class to talk about their experiences after, because they might not want to. And it is, from a, you know, from a neurological point of view, you're taking somebody out of a deeply somatic experience into language, which can feel like a physical wrench. So, and the reason why we were discussing it is, I've seen the hand, I'll float in a minute, is that a woman from Japan came to see me. She was, because her partner's from Australia, so she wanted an FI while she was in Adelaide. And they were both talking to me about ATMs and how she hates ATMs. I went, why do you, oh, that's interesting, why do you hate ATMs? She said, I hate all that talking afterwards. And I went, oh, what talking afterwards? And in her area in Japan, she's tried 3 or 4 different classes, that they do this thing where they do the ATM and then they all sit around and share their experiences afterwards. And it really put her off to the point of, you know, she doesn't like ATM because she thought that was part of it. So think about that when you're teaching ATM. So traditionally we don't, for the reasons that I explained, because it takes people out of there. Now, if you have a group that you know really well and they want to discuss something, of course it's not a hard and fast rule. One must never talk after ATM. That's not our way of making hard and fast rules, but you do want to understand why you make that decision to talk or not talk, right? So that it doesn't become a rule that you have to talk afterwards. So who felt that it was quite a jolt to come into language so quickly after quite a deep ATM? Yeah. Jolt as in negative, yeah. Who felt it was really useful for them? And who's ambivalent? Yeah, okay. So that's a reasonable proportion, right? And that would not be an unreasonable proportion of your class. So again, it's like deciding whether you're going to spit or not spit. You understand the reasons why you don't want to spit. You won't understand that metaphor at all, Anka. You can create a fantasy around what we're talking about with spitting. You already have. Good. Glenn had something. Do you want the box?
Pretty much have answered it.
Oh, okay.
The ladies once a week, do their walking around, and when we go outside, suddenly they're all
blah 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 blah.
Oh, and it's slow. I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So they really want to talk. I don't.
Yes.
Of course I engage.
You don't have to. As the teacher, you don't have to. Because if you, in a way, if you do, then they might be looking to you to validate that they had the right experience. So if you do engage with their conversation, you have to be very non-committal and go, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, yeah. So that passive, that kind of listening, that, you know, where you don't commit to a conversation is actually a very useful skill, because people come up to you afterwards, after an ATM, and they might want to do that, and that's what I would encourage you to think about doing, so that you don't enter into a patting them on the head, saying, yes, that was exactly the response we're looking for, yes, you're my best student, you're my favourite student, or whatever they're after. Do you have any views about this? Well, I know you do, because we discussed it.
Is this switched on? Okay. Well, the classes that I've got have been coming for many, many years. And
another scenario, right?
It's a different scenario. But I think when I finish teaching an ATM class, I think it is good to say, notice if your weight is different over your feet, all the usual things. But I don't encourage feedback about the class, because I feel that's slightly egotistical. It's like plump my ego up by saying what a fantastic class it was. But I might sort of future pace them and say, notice in the next week, before I see you next week, if you might be standing at the tram stop or in the supermarket queue or at the bank, if there's something different about the way that you're standing, and that puts people out into the real world with something to cogitate on. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, really. I think that's a really good strategy, is do you take them forward into their real life, not necessarily dragging them back into the lesson as such. Yeah, and it puts it back in their court to take this forward in their own experience, whatever their experience is. Okay? Would you like, I'm curious to know, would you like a tea break now? Right, let's have a tea break now. Let's say it's 22. Well, we can say that because it's true. My watch says 22 anyway. And we'll come back a bit after, well, let's say we'll come back at 11, and you will do the plus or minus 5 minutes that I have noticed is your want. 5 minute warning. In my head, you've actually got 30 minutes, so I don't really care. But I'll tell you 20 minutes, because then if we're back in 30 minutes, I'm happy, you see. Now I've told you my secret. Doomed now. No, because I'll give you a warning, you see. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Not if you weren't.